Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. It begins in the small town of Purgatory where everyone wears sunglasses and a thick coat of sunblock because they're vampires. They strive to give up their blood-sucking ways and live off a plant substitute, but lately the factory hasn't been performing well. The artificial blood isn't the right color, so the machine's human inventor David has come to repair it and brought along his wife Sarah. The Harrisons don't know about vampires, so also bring along their two young daughters who are already messed up in the head by the looks of that bedroom. Three porch-dwelling brothers own a gas station on the edge of Purgatory when a human comes flying in high off his head looking to purchase some fuel. Milt and Merle had the bright idea of making their place full service when they're vampires and could burst into flames at any moment. It just means that when it's his turn, Mort must put on his sombrero and risk his health to brave the sun and help an unappreciative customer. When Ponytail insults the old-timer's ability to withstand the desert, Mort accidentally smacks the rude man's head clean off his shoulders. Since that isn't the way we do things around here anymore, Merle goes and snitches on his brother to Jefferson. Unlike the yet-to-be-seen mayor, the town overseer Jefferson doesn't have a big problem with drinking human blood. He spends his nights turning punks like Chaz and Burgundy into vampires as he dreams of going back to the old ways. There's dozens of these hungry followers waiting in a cave nearby to sack the town and reclaim it for themselves. When the Harrison family finally arrive, they're given directions from Mort to the store where they meet the only police officer, Quinton. The family are clueless to all the innuendos and meet the store owners Ann and Otto, who sell everything except garlic, of course. The movie's full of side plots like the two travelers Jack and Alice who witnessed Ponytail get death slapped by Mort. They avoid the murderer's gas station that works as a lookout for the vampires and enter trying to find someone with a pulse. A few of the vamps that hang out at the cafe like Bailey are fed up with drinking synthetic blood and are on the edge of revolting. They're hungry for the red stuff, and as the sun sets the patrons lick their lips at the sight of the two humans strolling into town. Jack and Alice are disappointed they find the sheriff with their friend's killer and having a good old laugh about the murder. Quint was already on his way to put Mort in jail so that he learns his lesson, but now sees no choice but to lock the witnesses up too. Soon a young waitress named Sandy brings Mort some synthetic blood, calling it a protein shake in front of the humans. It's rather pointless because unlike David, who they need, these two have nothing to offer, so Mort says they're probably screwed. On their first night in the mayor's mansion, David works downstairs while Sarah has a visit from the vampire Shane. The buck-naked man turns into a bat and attacks her on the bed, but suddenly the daughters burst in to find the bloodsucker on top of mommy. The ugly little thing flies away, and the next morning Dave calls all three of his girls liars as he's a real stand-up bloke. He says that they've all been watching too many horror movies, then leaves like he didn't just treat his wife like a little child. The machine that Dave is here to repair is overseen by his old friend from school and the same man who just tried to stake his wife. Shane is now a vampire and holds resentment for David because he thinks he stole Sarah from him, but she just doesn't like the dude. David throws the first punch when coerced, but Shane just vampire tosses him like a bag of potatoes onto the counter. A few miles out of town, a human named Robert's car breaks down, so he walks all night to reach the brothers' gas station. They're apprehensive to give this awkward man directions to their town, but he insists that he has business in Purgatory. Robert strolls into the cafe where everyone stares but Sandy for a different reason, as she's instantly attracted to the handsome stranger. He almost reveals he's a descendant of the vampire hunter Van Helsing, but halts just short of saying his full name and introduces himself as Van Hel. Robert doesn't know about the mayor changing his food source and has come to hunt who he thinks is a murderous vampire. The smitten waitress tells him to keep that on the down low and organizes to meet up later when the likes of Jeff aren't around. Quint also warns her to avoid the human as Sandy was only converted 6 months ago and is still on vampire probation. She goes out to the desert to warn Robert about the dangers of remaining in Purgatory, but ends up almost sleeping with the enemy. When he leans in to kiss the mysterious woman, the hunter notices her lack of reflection in the hubcap and immediately whips out his stake. Sandy saves herself by promising to take him to the mayor, so he handcuffs the alluring vampire and drags her back to town. On the outskirts, they happen to come across Quint trying to arrest Shane for smuggling crates of weapons into town. Just then Jefferson arrives to reveal they contain wooden bullets that he uses to shoot the sheriff dead and take over the town. He goes down to the cafe and begins to rally Bailey and the rest of the vampires who are sick of drinking the synthetic blood. They're all ready to pounce on the kids locked inside the jail while Sandy smuggles Robert straight past the group to the mayor's house. The Harrison sisters are actually the first to meet him when they find a secret passageway behind the bookshelves leading to the cellar. Inquisitive as always, Julie and Gwen decide to explore and come across a coffin where their arguing awakens the slumbering vampire. Count Mardulak is the mayor of Purgatory and smooths over things with Sarah by making her daughter sound crazy. He then departs through the bookshelf again while Sarah ignores the stranger living in her basement, as I guess she's got bigger problems. Evidently she cheated on David with his former best friend Shane years ago, and he just found out that Julie might not even be his biological daughter. The town hunger to eat the humans in jail but avoid the young sisters at least for the time being while they need their father. Juliet recognizes the vampire from her mother's bedroom and confides to Anna about a dream she had of a vampire takeover. When the bloodthirsty townsfolk approach the jail, Mardulak pulls up in his limo to ward them away with a reminder of what he's done for them. Some harbor resentment towards the mayor for protecting the humans and for holding Mort in jail for another night. He assures the prisoners that his followers have changed their ways but leaves them locked up while deciding what to do with them. Anna tells the mayor about Julie's vision, so he takes the kids to the mansion to hear it in full while the parents follow them in the car. They assume Mardulak's kidnapping them, but he's here to reveal the truth while Sandy and Robert are simultaneously breaking in. Their chemistry is that of the vampire giving genuine compliments from the heart while the hunter thinks she's just some she-devil trying to seduce him. They climb onto the roof to look in the skylight, which is odd for a vampire to own, but nevertheless the Count and Harrisons are there. The wisest of the bunch, Julie, explains that Shane is a not good, very bad person who's probably about to try to invade. Mardulak is like, yeah, you're probably right, while Jefferson is shown mustering his army of vampire cave dwellers for their assault on Purgatory. Most are eager for carnage while Shane just wants to turn Sarah into a vampire and kidnap their possible love child. Good luck to him, I guess, while Robert has an even greater task of slaying the vampire lord, but Sandy knocks him through the skylight. Coming face to face with his grandfather's rival, Sandy prevents the attack and reveals her romantic feelings for the clumsy dimwit. She led Robert here just to ask Marty if she's allowed to turn him, and since this guy's clearly not much of a threat, the Count approves. One shriek later, Robert finds himself a full-fledged vampire, complete with aversion to crosses and lack of reflection. Meanwhile, Jefferson's posse make their move on the town by first taking out Milt and Merle before they can warn the mayor. Mort, however, is still at the jail and breaks out after converting the humans while they slept first to save their lives from execution. The Harrison family return to town and find themselves caught in the center of a vampire civil war that begins in the middle of the street. Looking like two gangs ready to face off, Jefferson's unhappy with the synthetic blood and converts the likes of Bailey to his cause. The chef throws him into the cafe for being a traitor, then brags about guns not being able to kill him, so Jeff puts a wooden bullet in his heart and solves that. A shootout begins and all of the good vamps retreat to the factory while Anna's shot and killed, but she's relieved to finally join her children. Inside the building, they use whatever they can find to make stakes, while some use guns they've picked up from the enemy to fight back. The battle rages on, in which Jefferson's vampires are funneled into the building by Shane with no end in sight. Our main group and a couple blood scientists manage to escape out the back when Mort walks through a wall like the Terminator. They turn into bats and fly away while David and his family flee on foot, but Shane swiftly catches up to them on horseback. Preparing to kill his rival and demanding he hand over his wife, Mardulak's own little posse comes down from the house looking all dapper. We have another brief standoff when the posse show up, as well as Morty's group, who get the drop on his brother's killer. Since Shane's only in it for himself, he fires the first round and the shootout continues between the two sides. Sarah takes off on a horse with her kids, so Shane chases her on his own and manages to avoid a crossbow fired by David. He corners her inside Mardulak's mansion and begins searching for her around the rooms while the kids hide in the homeowner's coffin. Trapping her inside the bedroom, he seduces his former sweetheart into accepting the transformation when David bursts in with a woody. He puts it in the vampire's chest but misses the heart, so Shane pulls the "you thought I was dead" move and pins David to the bed. Fortunately, he carries around a bottle of holy water and pours it on the vampire's neck as Sarah throws him the gun. He doesn't miss this time and the creep finally dies while the rest of his posse arrive to a spaghetti western style gunfight outside. As most of the vampires hold them off at the front, Sandy's the last line of defense at the rear, but a few make it inside, including Bailey. He sends Otto to meet his wife while Sandy kills Chaz, whose girlfriend had already perished in the factory, and for what? Just so we can watch Sandy stick an umbrella through Bailey's heart and open it up, which is kinda worth it. She was probably shouting those words as Ethan captures her and forces the good vampires at the front door to surrender. Robert got winged in the shootout, but nothing came of it while Jefferson gives Mardulak a gun, believing him to be the same age. Typical vampire rules apply where the oldest is the strongest, but the Count has never been forthcoming with his true identity. He's much faster and outdraws the Pilgrim before revealing that he's actually Dracula, having just changed his name over the centuries. The dramatic reveal is undercut by Drake running out of ammo, so the Harrisons raise a giant wooden cross above the house. I guess they had the time to whip it up and the God-fearing vampires all recoil, but soon realize it's only affecting the Jeffersons. Since they live trying to be better people, God has forgiven Dracula and his loyal followers while the rest of these suckers burst into flames. I'm not sure if Mort should be spared when he's smacking off heads like that, but God loves him all the same, or so the good book says. The Pilgrim, however, explodes, so with order restored to the town, the humans can pack up their crap and leave. Count Marty pledges to continue his experiment in pacifism and make Purgatory a hub for fake blood exports. Julie's told that Shane wasn't her real father, but it's straight to the DNA lab with her hairbrush when David gets home. Rob Van Helsing remains with Sandy, and as the Harrisons drive away, Dracula makes the joke that let's hope this wasn't all in vain. And the movie ends.